G'day, welcome back to Outback Action Figures. Now, if you haven't seen my YouTube short series I've been doing, it's Top 3 Thursday. So, this is the first sort of expanded episode I've done. I did a recap earlier today of the first 4 episodes, so if you haven't seen that yet, please feel free to catch up, and then, come back and check this one. So this will be episode 5, and with X-Men 97 back on our screens now, with Season 2 just started, I figured now's a perfect time to look into my top 3 X-Men figures. Now, these ones here are not actually part of the top 3, these are some honorable mentions. There's just, the Marvel Legends team have done so many awesome different characters and different variations of some of those characters that, there was too many to try and choose. This was actually a really hard one to nail down to just 3. So, as you can see here, these are just a few of the other ones in my current collection at the moment. So I've figured, since they're all named after Charles Xavier, you had to include a version of him in here. So this is the classic comic version with his hover chair. He comes with a little sort of blanket thing sitting on his lap there. And it's just, he's another iconic character. He's basically the whole reason that the X-Men exist. He's the one that sort of brought them all together. Now, there's a few other little variations here of some other favourite characters. Up the front, we've got the Old Man Logan here. Now, this is the one that came in a 2-pack with the Old Man Hawkeye as well, I believe, which I've seen a lot of people use the body or the head for different customs on that one. But anyway, this was just a really cool version of Logan, or Wolverine, otherwise known as. Now, as well, we've got Storm. Now, this is the punk version of Storm. Now, I know I've said before with, like, the Spider-Punk, for example, I dig that whole punk sort of vibe of some of these characters, and the fact that they actually did this in action figure form I thought looks really cool. So she's got the big mohawk, the sort of leather jacket, and just the whole punky vibe. It looks a bit different to her classic costume. And we've got here one of the many awesome Cable figures that we've gotten from the Marvel Legends team. Now, I don't recall exactly if this is from a specific storyline. I think it probably is. Actually, that on the side, I think it's called like Extinction or something. You'll have to forgive me on that one. Please, if you know what it is, let me know in the comments. I'm sure I've seen this in a comic panel somewhere before, but I just can't recall exactly what it was. If you can remember, please leave a comment and let me know. I need to find that one again. But anyway, this was just another awesome figure that we've got from the Marvel Legends team. A great version of Cable here. Next up, we've got Colossus. Now, this is from the Age of Apocalypse, the Build-A-Figure wave, which was, he was the Build-A-Figure. So, again, just a big fan of Colossus, but, this version just looks cool. He's got the big angry face, just makes him look super mean. He's a big, big chunky figure. I wasn't really interested in the rest of the regular figures in that wave. The Age of Apocalypse thing, like, some of the designs look kind of cool, but they're just not my favorite versions. But this version of Colossus, I just had to grab him. He looks awesome. And finally, we've got Magic here. Now, I believe she's part of the New Mutants. That was a big thing for her. They've recently released a sort of new version of her. I think it might be on an upgraded body. Perhaps, better articulation and stuff. But I haven't got that one. I'm still fairly happy with this. I haven't decided to upgrade yet, but we'll see. But anyway, this was just a bit of a look at some of the X-Men collection that I currently have. And enough about that. We'll get into the proper top 3. So first up at number 3, we've got this classic version of Beast. Now, this one was just awesome. He has heaps of cool detail. All the sculpted fur along the side of his body there, as you can see, like all up the legs, even on the chest and the face. It is on the arms as well. They're just a little bit covered up at the moment. But that's another awesome thing, that he actually comes with a cloth, material lab coat, which is very rare for Marvel Legends. You usually, honestly, I can't think of any other. Oh no, the Odin big deluxe figure from like a year or so ago, that had a cloth cape, I think. But for the most part, you never get actual soft goods material with Marvel Legends, so that's a very rare thing to actually get on here, but it's awesome. I'm so glad they included it. It gives you more options for him, so you can have him in his more scientific look. It comes with a couple of these beakers as well. This particular one, what does it say? X-Gene 6 on it, if you can see there. But he has another one. I think maybe it's got green or blue or something in it, but it comes with, like I said, a few options there. He has a couple of different hands, so you can have him more in a sort of fighting or leaping kind of pose, or like this, holding onto the beakers, doing sort of scientific stuff. The lab coat is obviously removable, so that gives you more options again. And he fits in perfectly. He fits, especially with my collection, I'm leaning more into the sort of classic 90s, the animation kind of style, or a lot of the sort of classic Jim Lee designs for the costumes. Because I grew up with the original cartoon, and that's sort of my mental image of the X-Men teams is from the cartoon. So that's why I'm so glad that X-Men 97 has come back and just made a huge impact. I'm actually really keen to get this video done so I can go and check out those new episodes. But awesome figure here. He fits with basically any X-Men collection as far as I can think of. Got cool accessories. He's an awesome figure himself. Like I said, the cloth lab coat here just looks fantastic. To be fair, look, it'd be nice if it had maybe like a wire or something along the side, but even just the fact that we actually got this with a Marvel Legends figure is, almost a miracle on its own. So, really, yeah, no complaints there at all. But yeah, so he was almost in number 2 spot, but there was something else just managed to beat him out, so he hit number 3, and there we go. That's my number 3 spot for the top 3 X-Men figures. Now, in at number 2, we have the classic 90s style Colossus. Now, as I've already said before, I'm a big fan of Colossus, so he was naturally going to make the list. This is what I was saying, just managed to beat out Beast for the number 2 spot. I was almost going to put Beast in because he's a bit more dynamic, but yeah, just personal preference won over in the end, and that's why Colossus here is in number 2. Now, these lists aren't meant to be like the, objectively the best figures. They're just my own personal picks of what I think are my favourites, basically. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily saying he is the best Colossus figure, but just in my opinion, he's my favourite version of him. Again, this was the version from the cartoon that I grew up with, and that classic 90s design is just, it's iconic, and you can't beat it as far as I'm concerned. Now, this one, he's just another big, tall figure. I've seen some people do a few swap parts, or even just completely replace him with the Marvel Select version. I know those were in a bigger scale, so that makes him taller again. I think those were 7-inch scale compared to, these are in the 1/12 or 6-inch scale. Now, obviously, he's taller than 6 inches, but, he measures up against other 6-inch figures at the correct scale. Anyway, if you've seen this stuff before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, I think he's still perfect as he is. He came in a 2-pack with Juggernaut, and that Juggernaut figure is fantastic as well. But I'm doing X-Men this time, not X-Men villains. Maybe we'll try that another day. But anyway, yeah, he's an awesome figure. I just think he looks fantastic. And yeah, like I said, personal preference, he's my favorite version of Colossus. Closely followed by the movie version, I think, just because I'm a big fan of the Deadpool movies. I think he looks awesome. But we've already seen him, never mind that. But yeah, this one, he's just fantastic. Awesome sculpt and great detailing on the body. The silver paint looks really cool. It's, shiny enough, but without being full-on chrome or anything. So, you're not going to damage any of the paint or whatever by moving the joints or anything like that. I've seen some people repaint them using, like, chrome paints and stuff, and they always seem to be very delicate after you do that, and you basically can't move them anymore. So, they might look cool, but then, yeah, you can never really change the pose on it. At least from the ones I've seen, anyway. If anyone out there knows of any sort of magic chrome pens or paint or whatever, then let me know. It'd be interesting to give it a try on him, or maybe Silver Surfer. There's a few options like that. Even the Cable before, we could put some of this chrome stuff on his metal arm. But anyway, enough about that. Yeah, he's just, like I said, he's an awesome figure. I think he just looks great. Big presence on the shelf. He's just a tank, and yeah, he looks like it. So yeah, he's perfect spot for number 2. So, for the number 1 spot, here we have Gambit. Now, as I mentioned in the shorts, if you've already seen that, this guy, as soon as I saw him from the original cartoon, he was just one of my absolute favorites from back then. He just has such a cool attitude, and his power set just looks awesome too. The whole thing with the kinetic energy and the playing cards, even the way he can charge up his staff, or even in the new series, X-Men 97, well, at least in Season 1. I haven't seen Season 2 yet, but yeah, definitely keen to check it out. Anyway, yeah, the way he's able to charge up other things too, as we saw in Season 1 of X-Men 97. But yeah, I'm sure there's probably other better versions of this particular character. This is just one of the Marvel Legends ones from many years ago. I'm sure they've done some other upgrades since then, or there's other, like Marfex or whoever else. I'm sure there's other versions of him. But for me, this has a bit of a nostalgia connection because it's the first version of him. Well, it's the only version that I have in this scale. And yeah, like I said, he's just an awesome character. I loved him as soon as I saw him, and yeah, I just think he looks awesome. His power set's cool, as I've already said. He's slightly limited just with, the articulation here. It's not the greatest. They're just the single joint elbows. And, the sort of trench coat sleeves are a little bit bulky. But, to me, this is my mental image of how he looks. He always had the trench coat on in the cartoon. Maybe, like, on the rarest of occasion you might have seen him without it, but I can't think of any. And, yeah, I think, it sort of captures his little smirk there. And even, admittedly, it's not the greatest paint job on here. It's a little bit sloppy in some places. But, you still get the sort of black and red eyes on him. That was fairly unique to his design. The windswept hair looks pretty cool. But, yeah, there's really not much more I can say about it. He's just an awesome figure. I love the style of it. Just, the way he looks. Everything about it is just cool. So he was my easy pick for number 1. Now, I'm sure plenty of you may be disagreeing with that. That's totally fine. If you have any other ideas or any other versions of this character that you think would be better, then please let me know. I am always on the lookout for more. So, yeah, like I said, I know there's at least I'm pretty sure there's a Marfex version. I don't know if, maybe SH Figure Arts or somebody like that may have done one. There's probably just a better updated version in Marvel Legends even. But, yeah, if you know of any, then please let me know. I am genuinely interested in finding, you know, if there are better versions of him. Like I said, I'm sure there probably are, but yeah, I still have that connection because this was my first one. Even if I did get a better one, I wouldn't get rid of him because, like I said, he's my first one. But yeah, anyway, enough about that. Alright, so here we go. Just a quick summary of the top 3. We had Beast at number 3, Colossus was number 2, and of course Gambit at number 1. And now, as I've said before, these are just my own personal picks from my collection. I'm sure there are plenty other good ones out there, plenty of other options I may have missed or just not even thought of. So if you can think of any, or even if you just have your own top 3, then please leave a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear them. I'm genuinely interested. So yeah, please let me know. Next week, haven't decided exactly what it'll be yet, so if you have any ideas for another category, then please let me know. I've got a couple of ideas, I just haven't locked one in just yet, but yeah, like I said, I'm always open to suggestions, so please give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. Stick around for next week, we'll have more in the Top 3 Thursday. Alright, thanks very much guys, cheers, catch you next time.